Welcome to the deep dive. Our mission today is straightforward, but also pretty dizzying. We're taking this massive stack of sources and diving deep into technology's rapidly approaching frontier.
Right. We're talking about the world being built right now.
From the microscopic, manipulating individual atoms, all the way up to wiring human cognition directly into, well, global networks.
And if you look at the material, the stakes couldn't be clearer. The speed of global change, the rate of data transmission, of discoveries, of crises, it's just accelerating exponentially.
So the sources are suggesting we're at a crossroads.
A binary choice, really. Either we fall into what some are calling a new dark age, or we find a new model for human development.
And that requires a deep social and technological transformation. We're navigating incredibly fast on some very rough seas.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's unpack that. To really get a handle on the future, we need to focus on the key technological breakthroughs your sources detail.
Right, and we've grouped them into a few categories for this dive.
We're looking at nanotechnology, biotechnology, IT, cognitive tech, genetics, and robotics. That's a huge amount of material.
It is, but let's find the most important nuggets.
Where do we start?
Let's start with the smallest scale imaginable, the nano-bio revolution.
Okay, the science of the impossibly small. So what exactly defines nanotechnology beyond just being small?
Well, it's all about particles measured in nanometers, which is 1/1000th of a meter.
That's hard to even picture.
It is. And, nanoparticles exist naturally. Think volcanic smoke or sea salt aerosol. But the real revolution is in how we manufacture them.
Because at that scale, quantum effects take over.
Precisely. They start exhibiting these weird quantum effects that allow us to manipulate matter in completely new ways. We're not just shrinking things, we're fundamentally changing their properties.
Your sources list some specific types, right? Organic ones like dendrimers and liposomes.
And inorganic ones like fullerenes and quantum dots.
So what makes these manufactured ones so transformative?
It really comes down to efficiency and precision. Nanoparticle-based tech uses way less raw material. It creates better coatings.
And it leads to incredible applications. The National Nanotechnology Initiative, the NNI.
Right. Their investments have led to some genuine societal transformations. We're talking safer, more efficient batteries that use carbon nanotubes.
And the life-saving vaccines delivered using lipid nanoparticles.
Exactly. And of course, the computing power we all carry around in our pockets. That precision is just unlocking huge potential across every single industry.
And that precision leads us straight into biotechnology.
And the actual creation of life.
This is where it gets really, really interesting. Let's talk about Craig Venter's historic 2010 announcement, the synthetic cell.
It was just astonishing at the time. Creating life from non-living parts. Essentially from 4 bottles of chemicals in a lab.
And Venter said the parent of this cell is a computer.
Right. They created a synthetic genetic message, a piece of code, transplanted it into an empty bacterial cell, and that cell just booted up.
And started reproducing.
Billions of copies of itself, all based on that initial digital instruction.
The potential applications mentioned are huge, like designer bacteria that could generate energy or clean up massive oil spills.
For sure. But the sheer speed of this biological data transfer, what some sources are calling bioteleportation, that's what's truly mind-blowing.
Bioteleportation is a wild phrase. So for you listening, how does the digital side of biotech even achieve that kind of speed?
It's the merger of IT and biology. You read the genetic code on one end, you send that digital file to the cloud.
And a receiving unit, a digital biological converter, basically chemically rewrites that code wherever it is.
And that speed is critical. We saw a real-world test during the H7N9 flu outbreak.
Chinese scientists sequenced the virus, posted the data online.
And in less than 12 hours, a U.S. team had synthesized the virus.
Based purely on that digital data.
Which allowed them to develop a vaccine ahead of time for a potentially dangerous new strain. That capability is a genuine public health game changer.
It really shows how information is becoming the new building block of life.
Absolutely.
Okay, switching scales now. We're going to pivot sharply from the rigorously tested world of nanotech to a more conceptual area explored in the sources.
We need to talk about water, its structure, and its alleged memory.
This is a fascinating, if pretty controversial, set of viewpoints in the material.
It links this idea of an energy imprint, which we just talked about with nanoparticles, to something as fundamental as water. The starting point is Victor Schauberger's idea that water gets its vitality from natural flow.
That it's born in the forest.
Right. But our modern systems, high-pressure pipes, sharp right-angle turns, they allegedly break down that natural structure.
Resulting in deformed crystals.
And this deformation is then linked to this idea of memory. Water from big cities tends not to form beautiful crystals because it's collected negative information from people, from pollution.
The sources really emphasize the closed-loop nature of city water systems here.
Think about it. Over 100,000 man-made chemicals, pharmaceuticals, toiletries, they pass right through the sewage filters and get recycled back into the municipal water.
And the claim is that the water remembers the chemicals and the violence it carried.
Which brings us to Dr. Masaru Emoto's research.
Right. He froze water samples and examined them under a microscope. And he found that living, vibrant water forms these beautiful hexagonal crystals.
Suggesting that intention or vibration might actually affect the structure.
I mean, if we accept the premise that everything is a wave, a vibration,
then it raises the question, how does frequency affect water? Emoto's work indicated that the crystal form changes based on exposure to frequencies, including those from words.
The Japanese word for thank you, arigato,
creates these beautiful geometric crystals, while negative words result in chaotic, broken forms.
There's also tone scope technology, which projects sound frequencies onto water.
And it shows these familiar geometrical patterns, a perfect cube, a tetrahedron emerging in the water structure at specific resonant frequencies.
This concept of a non-physical energy imprint, it leads us directly to the great paradox of homeopathy.
Right, because homeopathy's core idea is extremely counterintuitive.
The more you dilute the original substance, the more effective the remedy supposedly becomes.
The typical 30th potential dilution is 1 part in 1 followed by 60 zeros. There is almost no physical matter left.
So if the original material isn't there, what's actually working?
Yes, this is where we circle back to that conceptual link with nanotechnology. New research, like from Dr. Jesh Baer at IIT Bombay, suggests these ultra-dilutions carry the energy or the imprint of the medicine.
Not the substance itself.
Exactly. And this energy then supposedly strengthens the body's own energy field. It forces you to consider a completely different model of medicine.
From physical chemistry to resonant energy.
It's a huge shift. The sources contrast potassium cyanide, a super poison, with homeopathic potassium cyanide,
which is apparently used to treat things like oral cancer and is safe to consume because it's only the energy left behind.
It's a fascinating, if challenging, concept.
Okay, now let's zoom back out from the conceptual to the commercial. Back to mainstream nanomedicine and what some call the hackable human.
The precision of modern nanomedicine is just breathtaking. On the diagnostic side, you have these nano-sensors, only 20 or 25 nanometers in size.
That's about 50,000 times smaller than a grain of sand.
And they're designed to hunt and identify specific cancer biomarkers in minutes. Some nano-sized robots are even being engineered to propel themselves with a high-speed spin through the body.
And for treatment, you have researchers like Paula Hammond at MIT designing nanoparticles to deliver chemo drugs directly to cancer cells.
Which means the drugs don't impact the healthy cells.
You get rid of those awful side effects.
Exactly. And then there's graphene,
which, being soft and flexible, is ideal for intelligent neuroelectronic systems.
For real-time brain mapping. Graphene sensors are 40,000 times smaller than conventional platinum sensors.
But they offer 16 times more sensing dots, 64 dots for incredible precision in neurosurgery.
The devices are shrinking, but the network connecting them is exploding.
This is the Internet of Bodies, or IOB.
Right, this whole ecosystem of devices inside or outside the body, pacemakers, electronic sensor pills.
All connected to the internet, either collecting our most intimate health data or actively altering our body's function.
And the risks are profound, and they're threefold. First, there's the cyber risk. Hacking critical devices.
Someone could exploit a flaw in your pacemaker.
Exactly. Second is the privacy risk. It's a largely unregulated market, and it's really murky who actually owns your health data once it leaves your body.
And third, national security. We've already seen this happen, where U.S. military fitness trackers inadvertently revealed sensitive base locations and troop movements.
It's just a profound security failure, and it shows how intimate this data has become.
Which leads directly to this fundamental philosophical shift in the source material.
The assertion that humans are now hackable animals.
And that the myth of free will is over.
Right, because of this merger of biological and information sciences. The claim is that the most important data for control isn't your browsing history anymore.
It's what's happening inside your body.
That's a huge philosophical claim. that free will is over.
So is the material offering any solutions, or is it just documenting the problem?
It's mostly documenting the problem and highlighting how terrifying the threat gets at this scale. Hacking a network of nano devices inside your body.
Using the body's own systems to communicate.
It opens the door to ransomware with fatal consequences. You can't pay. That's the ultimate lockout.
Let's talk about the wireless environment that enables all this. Our source material is incredibly blunt about the health risks of Wi-Fi and EMFs.
Yes, the sources cite multiple studies outlining 7 different health effects. We're talking oxidative stress, attacks on DNA, effects on reproduction,
Lower sex hormones, increased spontaneous abortions.
and neurological issues that develop over time. And young children are shown to be more sensitive.
Because they have a larger surface-to-volume ratio and more stem cells, which are particularly sensitive to EMFs.
And 5G and the coming 6G could make this worse.
Hmm.
Pulsed EMFs have been known to be more active, more dangerous since the 1960s.
And 5G's extremely high frequencies and phased array systems significantly increase that pulsation.
This is a point of real controversy. The sources call the current plan to roll out tens of millions of 5G antenna without a single biological safety test.
Absolutely insane.
Yes. And we need to clarify here, this is the view of the source material's authors. But it does highlight a serious rift between the regulatory and scientific communities.
So what does 6G look like?
It aims for terahertz frequencies and microsecond latency, 1,000 times faster than 5G. The key concept is intelligence at the edge,
What's radically different is something called integrated sensing and communication, or ISAC,
meaning the network isn't just a communication pipeline anymore, it's acting as a massive sensor
mapping the physical world using radio waves, almost like sonar.
to scan your posture, detect your heart rate, track movement with radar-level accuracy.
And that infrastructure will be embedded everywhere. Smart materials, streetlights making it basically invisible.
So if the system is context-aware and proactively serving your needs, being offline becomes equivalent to being invisible. The boundary between device, network, and you just disappears.
It's designing the entire environment to be aware of you all the time.
Exactly.
Okay, moving into our last segment, let's look at the military intelligence frontier, where these technologies are often developed 20 years before civilian use.
We have to talk about DARPA.
Created in 1958 after Sputnik, with the goal of ensuring U.S. technological superiority.
And its legacy is just massive. They gave us ARPANET, the precursor to the internet, GPS, Wi-Fi, touchscreens.
But their human interface research is, well, it's controversial. Project Pandora in the 70s was exploring how to remotely affect brain function.
And develop brain-to-brain communication.
And the current next-generation non-surgical neural interface, or N3 program, is continuing that research today.
They're also deep into biological telemetry. DARPA-funded tech involving sensors implanted under the skin to continuously monitor a soldier's health for years.
Oxygen, chemicals.
Right.
The monitoring capability is intense.
And our weapons, dual-use technology commercial tech, adapted for military problems, like drones, is driving rapid change.
You see autonomous systems like the Bullfrog anti-drone gun, which are necessary because a human just couldn't move the joystick fast enough to hit a small, fast drone.
And this brings up a huge ethical crossroads. These AI-enabled weapon systems are being prototyped in the field before they're fully refined.
So there's failure baked into this kind of process.
Well, right. And accountability is a huge unresolved issue if an autonomous weapon makes a mistake. But the sources suggest the incentive to move toward full autonomy is simply too enticing at this moment to resist.
We've also heard these disturbing reports about directed energy.
The Havana Syndrome.
The investigation concluded the symptoms experienced by U.S. diplomats were consistent with a directed radio frequency energy attack.
And the sources warn that weapons are under development that can target specific people using their DNA or medical profile.
To target a biological weapon that will kill that person or take them off the battlefield.
Which makes the unregulated nature of commercial DNA kits like 23andMe a massive risk. Adversaries can collect that intimate data to develop these systems.
Finally, let's address the conspiracy theories around HAARP.
The High-Frequency Active Auroral Research Program, it gets blamed for everything from weather control to earthquakes.
It's important to distinguish between research and, vast theoretical energy weapons. HAARP is a research facility.
It studies the ionosphere using high-frequency radio waves, but its actual output is a nominal 3.6 megawatts. The amount of solar energy that naturally hits the ionosphere is just vastly greater.
So where did the controversy come from?
It stems from confusion with a separate, Massive, theoretical 100-gigawatt design proposed years ago by Bernard Eastland.
That one aimed to use natural gas reserves to modify the atmosphere, but it was deemed too cumbersome to implement. HARP is just not that project.
It's a classic case of confusing a small research tool with a theoretical superweapon.
We have covered a vast territory here, from nanobots targeting individual cancer cells to global networks designed to map our thoughts with radar-like precision. This has been a truly comprehensive deep dive.
What really stands out when you look across all these sources is that the systems being built today, the IOB, 6G, they are wiring cognition into the fabric of the network itself.
They're being designed to act more like a living brain than a simple data pipeline.
Exactly. Sensing, predicting, reacting. And this requires a profound shift in how we think about privacy and autonomy.
And that really is the point we have to leave you with. In this coming 6G world, data isn't just collected. It's interpreted, it's scored, and it's acted on automatically by algorithms that anticipate your needs and desires.
So the question isn't whether the technology is ready.
It's who is controlling what comes next, because, as the sources say, the rules won't be written in laws, they will be written in code and silicon.
We have to decide what kind of digital future we're willing to live in before the architecture is too embedded to change.